Hi, Greer from Active Health Clinic. I just want to talk about understanding your breath today. So as I've talked about before, we all have our certain habituated pattern of breathing. And sometimes it's easier, freer, and sometimes we might feel a little short of breath, or it might feel a bit more challenging. So the benefit of understanding it is it can tell us what our nervous system's doing. So we can really tune into, are we stressed? Do we need to slow down? Or even do we need to get going and moving? And one way that trains us to do this, one thing that trains us is mindful practices. So things like yoga. So if you've done any yoga or if you want to try it, you'll know or you'll experience how much you're invited to tune into the breath, to notice. So anything where we're trained to notice sensations or notice breath or notice our responses, it builds our ability to know what to do about it. So often people might come to a slower practice and feel really challenged or feel really uncomfortable. You might have had that in certain mindfulness apps or maybe a yoga class. And I know I've certainly had times where it's really hard to sit still or I just don't want to. And you might get a sense of you've got energy to burn. We often talk about feeling adrenalized, but actually you might not be adrenalized. You might be too oxygenated, which is kind of interesting. So obviously if you have POTS or OI or blood flow challenges, you're probably adrenalized. But other times, and lots of us might be over-oxygenated. So I'll tell you what I mean. So generally we breathe in driven by our brainstem, driven by our metabolic demand. So we breathe in our oxygen, we use that up, then our carbon dioxide levels rise and tell our brainstem to take another breath in. But so often we're in this pattern of breathing, or we might be, where we overbreathe. We're trying to take on more and more oxygen, but we're not actually, it's more than we need. It's more than our metabolic demand. So if we're sitting still, and as so many yoga classes might instruct, we take these big breaths, we're taking on all this oxygen, but we're not using it. So it could lead to us feeling dizzy, lightheaded. It stimulates our nervous system, so we breathe even faster and our heart rate might increase. And this might not be in yoga, it might be in other things as well. So yeah, if you're generally noticing it's hard to settle, you're feeling stressed or even starting to feel panicky, you might be breathing more than you need to. Obviously you still breathe, but that idea of, you might be taking on more oxygen than you need. And what actually happens is because of this disruption to the oxygen and CO2 levels, the carbon dioxide levels start to drop. Our blood becomes alkaline. We talk about it being, our red blood cells become a bit sticky. So the oxygen has a harder time getting into our cells. So we've got all this oxygen, but we can't actually use it. And we start to feel short of breath. So we start to want to take more and more breaths. And then we can feel panicked. So I know I used to do this whenever I felt stressed. I'd go, breathing's great. I'll do my big yoga breaths. I might even do some sun salute arms. And then it wouldn't help. And then I'd be left feeling like, gosh, I feel panicked, or what can I do? So what we actually do about it, I'm going to talk about in the next video. But if you find this helpful, feel free to share, or you'll find more videos on the Active Health Clinic, Active Health Connection on Facebook. Thank you.